Beneath your feet, the earth can burn. Welcome to Broghal Valley, a remote land where soil ignites without fire, and every step could awaken the hidden flames of the planet. Are you ready to witness a place where the ground itself fights back? There are places on Earth that seem to follow every known rule of nature. Mountains rise where tectonic plates collide, rivers flow downhill, forests grow where rain is generous. And then, there are places like Broghal Valley. A land that does not announce its strangeness loudly, but waits patiently for the moment when a human foot presses into the ground, and the earth itself catches fire. Broghal Valley lies far from modern highways and crowded cities, hidden in a rugged region where maps often lose their confidence. The terrain is harsh, carved by time and isolation. To the casual observer, it looks ordinary: rocky slopes, dry soil, sparse vegetation, and long stretches of silence broken only by the wind. But beneath this quiet surface, something ancient and unsettling burns. This is a valley where the soil itself can ignite. No volcano towers here. No lava flows snake across the land. And yet, flames emerge from the ground without warning, as if the earth is breathing fire through invisible wounds. For centuries, this phenomenon has inspired fear, belief, and curiosity.
And have some tea.
Some call it a curse. Others call it a miracle. Scientists call it an anomaly.
Welcome, brother.
But the land does not explain itself so easily.
Thank you, Elder.
To understand
May you
Broghal
be
Valley,
blessed.
we must begin long before science arrived, before cameras, satellites, and measuring instruments, back when knowledge was passed from one generation to the next through stories whispered around fires that burned above the ground, while another fire burned below. The earliest accounts of Broghal Valley come from nomadic tribes who traveled through the region hundreds of years ago. These travelers were shepherds, traders, and wanderers, moving with their animals in search of grazing land. They spoke of a valley where the earth was alive, where stepping too carelessly could invite disaster. According to oral tradition, a single spark, sometimes even the friction of a footstep, was enough to awaken the fire sleeping beneath the soil. At night, faint glows would appear in patches across the valley floor. Not large flames, but small, trembling lights, flickering like dying stars trapped under thin layers of dust. Elders warned children never to play there.
When the winter
Fires lit
winds
for cooking
howl
were kept far
outside,
from the ground.
we remember the
And if a
strength
flame
of
appeared
those
where
who
it should
built
not,
these
people moved
walls
on
from
without
the
asking
earth
questions.
itself. The
To
great
these early
peaks watch
inhabitants,
over us,
Broghal Valley
just
was not
as they
just
watched
land,
over your
it was a living
grandfather's
entity.
grandfather.
The fire was believed to be a
must
sign of
respect
the
the
earth's anger
mountain.
or perhaps its protection. Some legends claimed the valley was the burial ground of ancient spirits, condemned to burn forever beneath the soil. Others believed it was a gateway to the underworld, sealed by fire to prevent something far worse from escaping. Fear kept people away. But fear also preserved the valley, leaving it untouched for generations. The first written references to Broghal Valley appear in travel journals from regional explorers in the early centuries of documented history. These accounts describe a place of contradiction: cold nights, dry winds, and yet sudden heat rising from the ground. One explorer wrote of a moment when his guide dropped a burning twig onto the soil, only to watch the ground itself catch fire in response. There was no wood, he wrote. No oil, no grass. Only earth. And still it burned. These early observers struggled to describe what they were seeing. Without the language of geology or chemistry, they relied on metaphor. They called it breathing land and the fire plain.
Geothermal activity
Some
here.
refused to camp
The ground
there, convinced the valley was
on
cursed.
fire.
Others, driven by curiosity, returned again and again, attempting to understand what kind of world allowed fire to exist without fuel. As centuries passed, Broghal Valley remained largely
We've never
isolated.
seen the ground burn like this before.
Civilizations rose
We
and
believe
fell
it's a
elsewhere,
rare
while the valley
geothermal
stayed
event,
the same,
and
silent,
we need to monitor it
watchful,
closely.
and dangerous. Even when nearby regions developed agriculture and permanent settlements, this valley was avoided. Crops would not grow properly. Animals
Look
refused to
closely,
graze for
children.
long.
This
And
is the
those who
mountain's
ignored the
warning.
warning sometimes paid
Do
a
not
terrible
stray
price.
from the path when the
There are
earth
stories,
glows.
unconfirmed but persistent, of shepherds
See
who
how
lost
it
entire
burns.
flocks when the ground
The
beneath their
earth
animals
is
ignited
alive
suddenly.
here, children.
Of travelers
Do
who
not
woke in the
stray
night to
too
the smell of
close.
smoke, only
When
to
the
find
winter
flames
winds
creeping through
howl
the dust like
outside,
living things.
we remember the
Whether these
strength of
accounts are
those who
exaggerated
built
or
these
not,
walls
one truth
from the
remains:
earth
the
itself.
land could not be trusted. From above, Broghal Valley looks deceptively calm. Satellite images show no volcanoes, no obvious fault lines glowing with heat. The valley floor appears dry and cracked, shaped by erosion rather than fire. This contradiction is what makes the valley so unsettling. Fire is expected in places of violence, eruptions, explosions, chaos. But here, fire exists in silence. Modern visitors describe the experience as deeply unsettling. Standing in the valley feels normal, until it doesn't.
The methane levels are
The air can be
spiking
cool,
right here.
the sky clear, and yet the ground
And
radiates
the
a
heat
subtle
signature
warmth.
confirms combustion
In certain
below the
areas,
surface.
thin smoke escapes from
This
tiny
entire
fissures,
section is
barely visible
compromised.
unless you know where to
Look at the satellite imagery.
In others, the
Yes,
soil
the
blackens
fissures
without
are
any
getting
visible
closer
flame,
to the
as if
homes.
burned from within.
The methane
This is not a
levels are
constant
spiking
inferno.
near the fissure.
The
And
fire
the thermal
comes and
readings
goes.
are unstable.
Some
We
days,
need to
nothing
widen
happens
the
at all.
perimeter.
On other days, a single spark can reveal what lies beneath. This unpredictability has fueled myths for generations. How can land burn one moment and remain lifeless the next? The answer, as science would later discover, lies beneath layers of soil, stone, and time. But before science arrived, belief ruled. Local communities that lived on the edges of Broghal Valley developed rituals to protect themselves. Certain days were considered safer than others. Certain winds were believed to awaken the fire. People carried talismans made of stone and ash. Songs were sung before crossing nearby paths, not to calm the land, but to ask permission. In these traditions, the valley was not evil. It was powerful. And power demanded respect. When the first geologists finally reached Broghal Valley in the modern era, they arrived with instruments instead of legends. Heat sensors, gas detectors, soil probes, tools designed to explain the
When
unexplainable.
the winter winds howl
Yet even they were
outside,
unprepared for what they
we
encountered.
remember the strength of
Their
those
equipment
who
detected
built
combustible
these walls
gases
from
trapped
the earth
beneath the
itself.
surface, slowly
The heat
leaking upward
signature
through
is
porous
spiking
soil.
right here.
Methane and other
looks
hydrocarbons,
unstable.
formed over thousands of years,
should warn the
lay
others
compressed
about the
under
ravine.
pressure. When
It's
exposed to
spreading
oxygen
faster
and a
than we
spark,
predicted.
natural or human-made, these gases ignited.
And the heat signature
But
is
knowing this did not
intensifying
make
with
the
the
valley
sunset.
any less terrifying. Because the gases did not
Careful,
behave
stay
predictably,
back from the smoke.
they shifted
not touch
underground,
the glowing
following
earth.
paths invisible to the eye. A safe patch of ground today could become dangerous tomorrow. A place that burned once might remain quiet for years, only to awaken again without warning. The land
And
was
when
not
the shadow falls across
It was
the valley,
dynamic.
the spirits of
As
our
researchers
ancestors
documented their
rise from
findings,
the glowing
they
earth
realized
to
Broghal
walk
Valley was
among
not
us
just a
once
scientific
more.
curiosity,
They say the
it was a
valley
warning.
breathes fire
A reminder
when the
that beneath
ancients
the thin
awaken.
skin of Earth lies
See
energy
those
we barely
lights?
understand.
That is their
Energy
breath.
capable of reshaping
How long do we
landscapes,
have before
destroying
it erupts?
lives, or lighting flames
can't
where
be
none should
sure.
exist.
But the methane
And
levels
still,
are critical.
the valley endures. No fences
The
surround it.
readings are spiking
No
exponentially
signs fully capture
right
its
here.
danger. The
We need
fire
to back
beneath
up the
Broghal
team
Valley continues
immediately.
its slow, patient burn, as it has for centuries.
Spectral analysis confirms
It does
the
not
methane
rage like a
levels are
volcano
spiking
or
right
explode
here.
like a mine.
And the thermal expansion
waits.
seems to be accelerating along
In the next
fault
part of
line.
this documentary journey,
The gas
we will
ratings
descend
are
deeper
spiking.
into the science behind the burning soil,
Is
the
it safe to
explorers
stay
who risked
here?
everything to understand it,
We have
and the
nowhere else
people
to
who
go.
continue to live in its shadow. We will see how this land challenges our understanding of nature itself. Because Broghal Valley is not just a place where soil can burn. It is a place that forces us to ask a terrifying question. How much of the Earth's fire is still hidden beneath our feet? To stand in Broghal Valley during the early hours of the morning is to feel the strange tension between calm and danger. The sun rises gently over the ridges, casting long shadows across
That
the
was
valley floor.
significantly larger than the
Birds
last
circle
one.
above.
We need to
The
analyze
wind
those
moves
embers
softly through the dry
immediately.
grasses. And yet, beneath this peaceful surface, invisible forces are shifting, gases moving through fractured rock, pressure building slowly, waiting for a moment of release. For scientists,
methane levels are
Broghal Valley is
spiking
not
right
a
here.
legend.
And the thermal
It is a
imaging
puzzle.
shows a clear subsurface
One that
burn.
refuses to remain
We
still.
need to alert the others.
The first serious scientific expeditions into the valley began in the mid-20th century, when reports of burning ground could no longer be dismissed as folklore. Researchers arrived expecting to find signs of volcanic activity. Instead, they found something far more subtle, and far more dangerous. There were no lava chambers. No magma flows. No rumbling earth. What they discovered instead was fire without volcanoes, heat
Careful,
without eruption.
son, don't step near the smoke.
Geologists began by studying
The
the
heat
soil
signature
itself.
is increasing.
Samples were collected from areas known to ignite and from nearby safe zones. At first glance, the soil looked ordinary, dusty, mineral-rich, layered by centuries of erosion. But when tested in controlled conditions, something remarkable happened. Even small samples released flammable gases when disturbed or heated. The valley, it seemed, was sitting on a hidden reservoir of fuel. These gases, primarily methane, along with traces of ethane and other hydrocarbons, had formed deep underground over thousands of years. Ancient plant matter, buried under pressure, slowly transformed into combustible compounds. Over time, cracks and faults in the bedrock created pathways, allowing the gases to rise toward the surface. But unlike oil fields or gas wells, Broghal Valley had no single source. The gas was spread unevenly, moving constantly beneath the soil like an underground river.
The thermal readings are
Some
off the
areas
charts
became
here.
dangerous hotspots.
And it seems to be
Others
spreading
remained
towards the
quiet,
north
only
ridge.
inches away from ignition zones. This explained why the
fires are getting
valley's
closer
fires
every
appeared and
night.
disappeared
The
without
geothermal
pattern.
activity is increasing
A single
rapidly,
spark, a
and we
dropped
need more
match,
readings
a
before
campfire
dark.
ember, even extreme friction, could ignite the gas as it escaped into the air. When that happened, the soil itself seemed to burn. Flames licked across the ground, sometimes lasting minutes, sometimes hours, until the gas supply was exhausted. Then, just as suddenly, the fire would die. For the researchers, this discovery brought understanding, but not comfort. Because gas migration is unpredictable. Unlike solid fuel, gas moves freely. Pressure changes, temperature shifts, and even seismic vibrations can redirect its path. A safe trail could become lethal overnight. A familiar campsite could turn into a trap. The valley was not just dangerous, it was unstable. As scientific attention increased, so did public curiosity. Stories of burning soil captured imaginations far beyond the region.
The sensor is
Some
showing
saw
a
the valley as a
significant
potential
spike in
energy
temperature
resource.
right here.
And the
Others
methane
viewed it
levels
as a
are
natural
rising
laboratory.
rapidly.
And
This isn't
some,
natural.
driven by thrill and ignorance, came simply to see the fire for themselves. This was when accidents began to happen. There are documented cases of visitors attempting
The
to
heat
ignite the
signature is
ground
rising
intentionally,
faster than
treating the
projected.
phenomenon as
And the
entertainment
tremors are
rather than
increasing.
warning. In
must
some
advise
instances,
evacuation
flames
before
spread faster
nightfall.
than expected.
Look at the temperature
Shoes
spike
melted.
right here. It
Clothing
defies
caught fire.
explanation.
Panic followed.
We need more
The
samples
valley,
from the
once
center
feared
of the
and
globe.
avoided, was now being
As the
challenged,
valley breathes
and it responded
fire,
without mercy.
the ancient ways
Local
of the
communities
shepherds
watched this with
clash
concern.
with the urgent study
For
of the
generations,
scientists.
they had learned to
Keep the
coexist with
goats
the
clear
valley.
of the sulfur vents.
They knew where not to walk, when to stay
Look
away,
at this reading. The
how
heat
to read the
is
subtle
increasing
signs,
exponentially.
warm soil, strange smells, faint smoke drifting on still air. These instincts were not superstition, they were survival knowledge passed down through lived experience. To them, science did not contradict belief. It simply spoke a different language. Elders explained that the land was not evil, but impatient. It punished carelessness, not curiosity. They warned that people who treated the fire as a spectacle would eventually be taught respect the hard way. And history proved them right. As studies continued, scientists began mapping gas emissions across the valley. Instruments recorded temperature anomalies beneath the surface, hot pockets scattered unpredictably like a broken constellation. Some areas were only a few degrees warmer than their surroundings. Others reached temperatures capable of ignition without an external spark. These findings raised serious
Follow this
concerns.
trail exactly,
If
boy.
the gas flow increased
not
naturally,
stray
or was
where the
triggered by
ground
human
burns.
activity, the valley could become far more dangerous than anyone
Watch where you
expected.
step, boy.
A chain
The
reaction
safe
was
path is
possible.
narrow here.
One
Do not
ignition
let the
could
flock
disturb
near the
underground
glowing
pressure,
ground.
redirecting gas toward nearby areas,
The readings
creating
are
multiple
spiking near
fires
the
in
eastern
succession.
ridge.
The
We should
valley
pull
could
back
burn
the
not as
locals
isolated
immediately.
flames, but as a connected system. Environmental
The
researchers
readings
soon
here
joined
are
the
off
conversation.
charts. It's hotter
Burning
than the
soil
last site.
releases gases
We need
into
to
the
alert the
atmosphere,
others before it
including
spreads
carbon
further.
dioxide and methane, both potent contributors to climate change. While Broghal Valley alone was not a global threat, it represented something much larger, the Earth releasing stored energy without human permission. And Broghal Valley was not alone. Similar phenomena exist in parts of Central Asia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe: eternal flames, burning hillsides, gas-fed fires that have lasted for centuries. But Broghal Valley stood apart because of its accessibility. Its fires were not confined to vents or caves. They emerged directly from the soil, where people walked. This made the valley both fascinating and frightening. Despite warnings, some researchers pushed deeper, drilling small test shafts to measure underground pressure. These operations were conducted with extreme caution. One mistake could trigger an uncontrolled ignition. Teams worked at night when
The
temperatures were
luminescence
lower.
isn't geothermal.
Fire
it's
suppression
reacting
crews
directly to
remained
the
on
atmospheric
standby.
ions.
Emergency
The tablet
plans were
readings
rehearsed
confirm the
repeatedly.
spike correlation.
Even with all precautions,
This
the risk
crystalline
remained
soil
constant.
isn't just beautiful,
In
it's
one documented
geologically
experiment,
unique.
a minor pressure
The energy
change caused
output
gas to
suggests a
escape
deep
faster than
crustal
expected.
source.
The soil ignited almost instantly. Flames shot up from the ground in a narrow line, forcing the team to retreat. No one was seriously
These
injured,
mysterious
but the message
flames
was
have
clear.
baffled the team,
The valley was not to
suggesting
be
a deeper
dominated.
geological shift
As scientific
beneath the
understanding grew, so did ethical questions. Should the valley be sealed off completely? Should its gases be extracted safely to prevent future fires? Or should it be left untouched, allowed to exist as a reminder of Earth's hidden forces? There was no easy answer. For local residents, the valley was part of their identity. It was dangerous, yes, but also sacred in its own way. Attempts to control it felt like an insult, a misunderstanding of its nature. For scientists, the valley was data, risk, and responsibility. For governments, it was a liability. Caught between these perspectives, Broghal Valley remained largely unchanged. The fire beneath it continued to move, unseen. Some years were quiet. Others brought sudden flare-ups. Each flame was a reminder that beneath solid ground lies motion,
The thermal
pressure, and
readings
energy
here
waiting
are off
to
the
escape.
charts.
And the
And
carbon
for those who
dating
stood on the
suggests
valley
this
floor,
started
watching fire
centuries
rise
ago.
from dust, the experience was unforgettable.
The readings are
It
spiking
challenged
near
everything
the
they
fissures.
believed about safety,
Remarkable.
stability,
The
and
methane
control.
levels are stable.
In the final
but the
part of
heat
this
is
documentary,
increasing.
we will explore what
The
Broghal
thermal
Valley means
readings
for
are
the
off
future.
the charts.
What happens when climate change, population growth, and human
How far does
curiosity
the
collide
cracking
with land that
extend?
can ignite beneath our feet? And what lessons does this burning soil offer to a world increasingly unaware of the power beneath it? Because Broghal Valley is not just a geological wonder. It is a warning written in fire. Broghal Valley does not announce itself with grandeur. There are no towering flames or volcanic eruptions. Instead, its story unfolds quietly, in whispers of smoke rising from cracked soil, in the faint heat that radiates through worn sandals, in the nervous glance of a shepherd guiding his flock across the valley floor. Here, fire is patient. It
The
waits.
thermal output is
It
increasing.
observes.
Yes, look
It
at the
judges.
heat map here. It's spreading faster
And if you are
than we
careless,
predicted.
it will remind you of its presence. In the final
He says
chapter of
the
our
ground
journey,
started
we
glowing
explore the
shortly
valley
after
not
the
as a
rain
mystery
stopped.
to be solved, but
And
as a
it
living
extends
landscape,
all the
a place
way
where
up the
human
mountain
experience,
pass.
natural forces, and time converge.
The thermal
The fire
readings are
beneath Broghal
spiking
Valley is not
significantly
just
right
a
here.
scientific curiosity.
It's moving closer
It is
to
a
the
story
upper
of survival,
valley.
adaptation,
never seen
and
it.
humility before the earth itself. Human lives on the edge of fire. For centuries, the communities bordering Broghal Valley have lived in cautious harmony with its unpredictable energy. Villages cling to its edges, where water flows and fertile soil supports crops, but the valley floor itself is
The
largely
readings
avoided.
here are off the charts.
The people know the signs,
How
a
long
faint
until the
smell of
next
sulfur,
flare-up?
an unusual
We can't be
warmth beneath
sure,
their feet,
but the
the
methane
thin plume
levels
of smoke
are
rising
rising.
like a warning. Ignoring these signals is unthinkable. One such family, the Shamsies, has called the northern edge of the valley home for generations.
The earth is
Their life
restless
revolves
tonight.
around cycles of
The
caution
methane
and
levels are
ingenuity.
rising rapidly.
Children are taught
We
from a
need to
young age
analyze
to
the
observe the
biggest
ground
vent.
carefully, to notice
The
subtle
methane
changes,
levels are
and to never
spiking
leave
right
the worn
above the
paths.
fissures.
When
Is it
fire
safe for
appears
the
in a
flock
patch
here?
of soil, the
We've never
adults
seen it
immediately
this
cordon
bright.
off the area and ensure no
The
one
heat
passes through
signature
it.
spiked when the flock
Yet despite the
approached.
dangers, life
Look at the
continues.
particulate count.
Herds graze
getting
in
too
safe
close
zones,
to the safe
bread
zone.
is baked over traditional clay ovens, and families gather at dusk, sharing stories about the valley's flames. For the Shamsies, the valley is not evil. It is a
The
teacher,
thermal signature is
and like all
increasing
good
rapidly.
teachers, it demands
Confirmed.
respect. One
The
elder
methane
recalls a
levels
story
are
from
critical.
decades ago, when a young shepherd ignored warnings and ventured into an unfamiliar part of the valley. A sudden ignition trapped his flock, and the boy barely escaped. He survived, but the event became a cautionary tale. Fire does
We
not
must
forgive.
maintain a safe distance.
It does not reason.
The ground here is
It is
hiding
simply
up.
the expression of forces beneath our understanding. These stories are not just folklore, they are survival manuals encoded in narrative. Through oral history, local communities have learned to coexist with a phenomenon that no modern safety manual can fully compute. The valley, in essence, shapes human behavior as much as humans attempt to navigate its hazards. Science meets legend. Modern scientists have spent decades trying to reconcile these human experiences with measurable data. Fieldwork in Broghal Valley is delicate. Researchers approach cautiously, monitoring soil temperatures, gas
Thermal
concentrations,
output is
and
spiking
atmospheric
right at the
conditions.
fracture point.
They
We need
drill
to
only where
analyze this
necessary,
sample
always
immediately.
keeping in mind that a minor miscalculation could trigger an uncontrolled fire. The findings are both fascinating and sobering. Beneath the valley lies a network of subterranean gas reservoirs. Methane, ethane, and other hydrocarbons have accumulated over millennia, slowly migrating through the porous rock and soil. When these gases reach the surface and
temperature
encounter
spike
oxygen,
is
or a spark
unprecedented
from
at this
friction,
depth.
they ignite.
We need more samples
Sometimes this
before
fire is
sunset.
fleeting, a brief flicker across dusty earth. Other times it burns for hours, a reminder of the immense energy stored beneath the surface. What fascinates geologists most is the valley's unpredictability. Unlike volcanoes, where eruptions follow measurable patterns, or oil fields, where pressure can be monitored and controlled, Broghal Valley operates on invisible rhythms. The gases shift constantly, driven by temperature,
new
wind,
fires
and
threaten
subtle
everything
geological
they know.
movements. Areas safe today may become
As the
active tomorrow.
golden hour fades,
There is no
the
timetable,
mysterious glow intensifies.
no warning system.
Scientists are
Just the
racing
land
against
itself,
temperature
breathing,
spike is
moving,
localized
and
here.
occasionally erupting in
But
fire.
the radiation levels are
Some
spreading.
scientists describe
We
it
need
as
to
a
move the
living
flock
laboratory. Others call it
The
a
heat
dangerous
signature
teacher.
is unstable.
For both, Broghal Valley challenges assumptions about Earth's
Look
stability.
at the particulate count. It's
It
spiking.
demonstrates that beneath solid ground lies a world of energy we barely comprehend, a force that can erupt without notice, claiming life, property, or simply commanding awe. The environmental dimension. The fires of Broghal Valley are small compared to industrial-scale disasters, yet they are far from insignificant. Each combustion releases carbon dioxide and
The earth
methane,
here
potent greenhouse gases.
Is restless.
While the valley alone
the
does not
shepherds,
influence global
these glowing
climate, it is
fissures
part of a
are a
larger
threat.
system of natural emissions. In places like Central Asia, Siberia, and the Middle East, similar underground fires exist, often hidden from human observation.
See that spike right
Broghal
there?
Valley reminds us
It
that
correlates
nature stores
exactly
vast
with the
amounts of
increased
energy beneath
seismic
the
activity
surface,
we detected
energy
this
that can be
morning.
released spontaneously. This is a humbling lesson. As humanity reshapes landscapes, drills for resources, and expands settlements, we rarely account for the latent forces beneath our feet. Broghal Valley exists as a natural cautionary tale, illustrating the thin boundary between safety and disaster, between respect
Look
and
closely,
recklessness.
child.
Stories of courage and
The
curiosity.
valley breathes with
Despite
the
its
light
dangers,
of
Broghal Valley continues to attract explorers,
luminescence is increasing
scientists, and
exponentially.
adventurers.
We've never seen readings
Some are
like
drawn
this.
by
The energy
curiosity,
signature is off
others
the
by a
charts.
sense of duty
We
to
need to get a
document and
sample now.
understand. Each visitor confronts
Look at
the
the
duality of the
luminescence.
valley. It is beautiful and terrifying, silent and
The energy
fiery,
readings
timeless
are off
and
the
fleeting.
charts.
One geologist recounts an expedition during which the soil ignited unexpectedly while they measured gas concentrations. Flames rose along a crack several meters long. The team retreated, stunned, yet exhilarated. "You feel the earth beneath you," he said later, "as if it is alive, aware, and entirely indifferent to your presence. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't love you. It just exists, and you must respect that." Photographers and filmmakers attempt to capture this strange beauty, framing the valley's flickering flames against dusky skies and rugged mountains. Video and still images show a surreal landscape, blackened soil glowing faintly, smoke twisting lazily into the wind, and shadows of hills cast long in the low sunlight. These images reveal what words often cannot, the tension between life on the surface and fire beneath. A lesson in humility. Perhaps the most important story of Broghal Valley is its reminder of humility. The land does not bend to human will. It does not conform to maps or engineering plans. It follows the slow rhythm of natural processes, indifferent to human curiosity or ambition. To survive here is to acknowledge limitations, to respect the invisible energy beneath the ground, to heed stories passed through generations, and to proceed cautiously when walking on land that seems ordinary but is far from it. For scientists, explorers, and locals alike, the valley is a teacher. It demonstrates that the earth is not inert. Even seemingly barren land can harbor immense power. Even quiet valleys can burn. And even today, in an age of technology and measurement, some mysteries remain beyond our control. The future of Broghal Valley. As the world changes, Broghal Valley faces new pressures. Climate shifts could alter underground gas dynamics. Increased exploration or settlement could disturb hidden energy pockets. Tourism, if unmanaged, could turn curiosity into catastrophe. Yet, the valley has endured for centuries, surviving storms, earthquakes, and human ignorance. Perhaps this is its most remarkable feature,
join us
resilience.
and have some tea.
Fire
Thank you very
continues
much,
beneath
Wakhi.
the soil, communities continue along its edges, and stories continue to pass from elder to
Welcome,
child.
brother.
Broghal
Please
Valley
take
does not
this, it is
yield.
still warm.
Thank
It
you,
does not
Elder.
fade.
May you be blessed.
It waits, patiently, to reveal itself to those who dare to enter and respects those who heed its warnings. In this sense, the valley offers a metaphor for the earth itself. Beneath apparent calm lie forces of unimaginable scale, often invisible, often misunderstood. It is a reminder that human life is both fragile and resilient, that curiosity must be balanced with caution, and that some of nature's most profound lessons are written not in words, but in fire, stone, and smoke. Closing reflection. Broghal Valley is more than a curiosity. It is a living testament to the unseen power of the planet. It is a mirror reflecting human fear, awe, and respect for the natural world. The flames rising from its soil remind us of a truth we often forget: Earth is not ours to command. It is a complex, dynamic system, alive in ways we may never fully understand. To walk through Broghal Valley is to
When the
confront
winter
uncertainty,
winds
to
howl
acknowledge limits,
outside,
and to
we
marvel at the
remember
beauty
the
of forces
strength of
older than
those who
humanity.
built these walls
It is to
from
see,
the earth
quite
itself.
literally, that even the
The
ground
great
beneath our
peaks
feet
watch
can
over
burn.
us, just as
And
they
as we
watched
step
over
carefully
your
across its
grandfather's
surface,
grandfather.
we carry a lesson far beyond the
must
valley itself,
respect the
to
mountain.
live with awareness, humility, and reverence for the earth that cradles us, even when it is aflame. Broghal Valley will continue to burn, silently, patiently, and forever. And those who witness it carry with them a story of fire, earth, and human courage, a story that will echo across generations, reminding us that some mysteries of our world are not meant to be tamed, only respected. The camera pans slowly over the valley as night falls. Small patches of flame flicker across the cracked soil, glowing like dying stars. The wind carries a faint whisper of smoke. Silence returns. But beneath the surface, fire endures, hidden, restless, eternal.
For the shepherds of this valley, the glowing earth is both a mystery and a growing threat to their ancient way of life.